TAGNBRAG Nation and Goose Chasers, welcome back to another episode of your boys and their Goose Chasing. Goose Chasing is brought to you by TAGNBRAG and TAGNBRAG Productions. It's also brought to you by TAGNBRAG Apparel and, getting into it, especially in the coming weeks and months, TAGNBRAG Land Management. If any of y'all are interested, we would welcome the opportunity to build a land and deer management plan together. We got some good stuff coming down the pipeline. Just a couple housekeeping things before we get going. We've got the bow giveaway that we've been doing on our social media. That was a Christmas giveaway. It's been extended a little bit longer, and for good reason, because we have just so many people that are graciously giving back to their loved ones, giving back to people that they know, some people giving back to people that they don't know, which is cool too. So we've extended that a little bit. This is obviously a solo podcast with your boy David, but when Dino gets back, we will announce those, and maybe we'll do a bonus episode later in the week with the announcement of those winners. We've got it narrowed down, but we don't have three final picks quite yet. So it's really exciting, though. I mean, that whole giveaway was an eye-opening experience for us. We wanted the opportunity to give back, to the people that have followed us along, to the people that have essentially made our dreams come true and our dreams a reality, and not knowing really what to expect or what would come of it. And what's come of it is pretty cool. Just people opening up and giving back to what we feel like are people that really need and could use this archery equipment, like people that may not be hunting yet, people that may have stopped hunting, because their equipment is just not up to par and they can't afford it right now. But the fact of the matter is the give back from y'all is pretty warming to our hearts and pretty rewarding. And just the fact that everybody has been so giving in this giveaway. I mean, I guess that's the kind of the nature of the beast, and it's in the name, but at the same time, people could just easily tag somebody and not write, a reason. But the people that have gotten very descriptive in, naming somebody that they want to give a bow to and the reasons why, and, basically selling the fact that this person actually really does need a bow and it could actually very much benefit them, benefit their life, and benefit their family's life. To be able to put 3 bows out into the world that could have that an effect on somebody, and not just that person, but the people around them and their families, is pretty awesome. So for that, we cannot be more grateful to you all who have participated, and can't thank you enough. We appreciate your patience on drawing the winners of this. Like we've said all along, our main concern is that these go into the hands of people that truly, truly need them, that, people that it could really make a difference with, and we are well on our way. So thank y'all for that, but we will have those announcements soon. I think we mentioned last podcast that we were going to announce it this time, but like I said, I wouldn't feel right announcing those winners without my boy Dino sitting next to me, because he is half of the efforts and half of the tag and brag spirit, and in our spirit of giving back, we wouldn't want to do it any other way. So Dino is on a little bit of a photo shoot today, doing some work for Moultrie Mobile and Moultrie Feeders, which is pretty awesome. We are trying to get all of our ducks in a row and just get the last of our things done to get ready to go to ATA later this week. ATA, the Archery Trade Show Association, is having their annual trade show in St. Louis, Missouri this year. And Dean and I have gone, close to 10 years now. It's funny that the first couple years going to that show, the show is not open to the public. So it's essentially a show for all the buyers and the retailers, box stores, and stuff like that to go put in their orders, the small mom and pop shops all throughout this country to go put in their orders, see new products, test new things, all that good jazz. And honestly, for us, it's more of an opportunity, and really one of the few opportunities throughout the year that we can go and, have some face-to-face time with other people within our industry, whether it's partners, whether it's other, TV personalities, potential partners, all that stuff. It's a massive, massive opportunity to network and just get that face time that so many of us don't get to have throughout the year because we're running and gunning and we're hunting and traveling and doing our thing. And to be able to kind of settle back down into one place, it's a pretty cool event. So we're getting ready for that. And like I said, the first couple years going there, I remember the first year, Uncle Jay and I actually went. Dean didn't even go with me, and I'm trying to think of where it was. Maybe it was down here in Nashville. But we went there and we were overwhelmed with just the industry, the size of everything, the amount of people, going and walking and, rubbing elbows with guys like Michael Waddell, the Drurys, John Dudley, Levi Morgan, Heartland Bowhunter, all these guys that we idolized, as we were kind of coming up and as we were growing up and morphing into the young little lad hunters that we were at that time. But to be able to walk that show and be in the same room as those people was an eye-opening experience for me, for sure. Just the reality check of like the work that you're putting in and what you're shooting towards. And, part of just being there the first year, nobody knew who we were. We didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know, everybody else had meetings planned and, it seemed like there was a schedule and an agenda of where to go. And we were just kind of there like in awe, walking around, looking at all the new products, not really believing that we're kind of on the same level as some of those TV personalities and stuff like that we idolized and looked up to. But that really motivated us, and for sure it motivated me to get to that level. Like I remember going to ATA the first time, and you walk into this trade show and it is like a hunting world paradise, like just its own little world, and it's separated from the rest of the world because you got all these people all in the same room, and this is all we're concentrated on for the next 2 to 3 days. And I remember walking in there and, you could quickly understand what was going on. There was a lot of business deals going on, whether it was buyers putting in orders, whether it was, personalities trying to, gain another company or product as a sponsor or, be part of their marketing campaign, whatever it was a very like business deal savvy place to be. So the networking was extremely important. But I remember thinking in that moment, I want to be one of the people that, is in scheduled meetings one time, eventually. I want to be one of the people that is, that these other companies are looking forward to seeing based on the work that we've done throughout the year. And, slowly but surely over the years, we kind of worked our way to that point. And then the Badlands Film Festival started happening. So we started putting films into the Badlands Film Festival and, putting ourselves up against some of the best producers in the hunting and archery industry. And that was cool too, to be able to sit in a room in an auditorium with a couple thousand people in it and people see, your 10-minute masterpiece of a hunt up on the big screen. I mean, you're literally in theaters, massive screens, sound, and to hear like the crowd roar when they see your logo, or to hear the crowd roar when they see you send an arrow through something, it was just like, that was such a captivating experience, and those were such captivating moments for us. So this week is I guess, holds a little place near and dear to our hearts. From a business standpoint, this is where we feel like we kind of cut our teeth and got started, because it was ATA that allowed us to get that face time that we'd never had before with, with people that could make decisions to have us market their products. And so it was a way for us to prove ourselves and kind of get that face-to-face time and build trust and build kind of a reputation and build a relationship with these people and these companies to allow them to, have you represent their product. And what started as a lot of product deals and a lot of working for nothing has gotten us to this point where, we're making money and we're representing products and people, and they're paying us to do that. And it's all because we had the courage to chase what we love to do and to chase what we've always dreamed about. And certainly we were scared, and there was a lot of unknowns along the way, but it was here at ATA that we were able to start that journey from a business perspective, as with us as the personalities, and that's pretty cool. So looking forward to this week. More than anything, I just love to see all the people that we've been able to make friends with, all the companies that we work with, to be able to go and shake hands and have those direct conversations with, people from Moultrie and Moultrie Mobile and Code Blue and XOP and OnX, and, the list goes on and on of the people that are there. It really just shores up those relationships. It gets you motivated to go back to work for that year, for not only yourself, but for them, because we work with so many great companies that have given us a chance, have given us the chance to make this into a business, to legit make this a livelihood. So that's what it is. And unfortunately, Dino's doing some in the field stuff today, so we had to record a podcast, and you're getting your boy solo today. So congratulations. Let me just check this out. What I wrote down some notes and stuff like that. Season ended in Tennessee yesterday, like the main part of the season. So Tennessee closed yesterday for all of the regular season. Now we go into a 5-day doe-only season, which you can use gun, muzzleloader, or bow. And then Saturday, Sunday are our youth weekend, and then the season is officially over. So I was battling some weird emotions yesterday, I guess you could say. I was, when the season finally comes to a close, and I honestly, I didn't even get to hunt yesterday at all. And, part of the reason is because just paying attention to the trail cameras and stuff like that. Like, there's just, right now down here in Tennessee, there's not a buck that I am like hard pressed to go pursue. And so that was part of it. Other parts of it were just, had other things to do yesterday. And that took kind of precedent over the hunting aspect of things, or just kind of just the reason to just go sit in the woods. I am going to try and get in this afternoon, but just honestly, it's been a very rewarding season in a lot of different ways. I'm extremely grateful for this season in a lot of different ways. We got to experience Kansas for the first time, which has been a bucket list of ours since we were 10, 11, 12 years old. Didn't get anything there. Did have one tough opportunity and didn't make good on that. And that's part of bow hunting and what happens sometimes. But I'm extremely grateful for kind of having the courage to apply, go do it, and just go experience it. Because once you get your feet wet with something, it makes it a lot easier to go back and do it that next time, that next go around. So I'm glad that we got our feet wet in Kansas. It's become an obsession as far as hunting there, and I'm looking forward to the years to come in hunting this magical whitetail paradise. we talked a little bit about that on the last podcast, but I'm also grateful for just the amount of travel that I was able to do and the amount of experiences that I was able to have throughout this season, all the while I didn't fill a buck tag. I started the season in North Dakota, came back here to Tennessee and hunted a little bit, ended up in Wisconsin on an XOP team hunt, which was another amazing experience and just awesome to be able to go up there, get into camp with guys that I've never been in deer camp with before, share stories, share tactics. We chased around a few deer together. We were kayaking and canoeing onto this island to hunt deer. So something that I've never even, remotely experienced before. That was really, really cool. And then after that, went back up to North Dakota, had another awesome trip, kind of extended that maybe a little bit longer than we had permission to but for good reason, because we kept feeling like we were right there the last couple days of our hunt. The first 4 days of our hunt, we were scratching our head. I mean, we literally almost left early, and then Dean and I saw shooters on the same night on what would have been our last night, and we ended up staying 2 more nights because we just had the cameras kind of popped, and it was telling us that we needed to be there. And we had multiple different encounters the next couple days, almost got it done, didn't, came back here and hunted the latter part of October in Tennessee, went up to New York for Rut Week, which was awesome. I actually had a great week during Rut Week. I saw a ton of deer. I saw a lot of borderline shooters. I had one shooter give me the slip chasing a doe, and it was a little bit of a down year for us up in New York, and that's okay. That's okay. The standards are elevating also, so that kind of plays a little bit of a factor into it. There's deer that we had encounters and, experiences with this year that probably 2 or 3 years ago, we wouldn't have been so gracious in letting them pass. And so that certainly plays a factor of it. But I did see a lot of deer. I probably saw every single one of our up-and-comers. And I'm trying to think, every one that I passed, I think, is still alive. Yeah. Not all of the up-and-comers that, we were hoping made it. But all the ones that I saw, at least, that I passed, survived up until this point. So that's awesome as well, because that certainly boasts well for next year's crop of bucks, and hopefully a little bit of a revitalizing year next year to get back to Camp Cutlet in New York. Spent a little bit of time in Ohio, unfortunately couldn't get it done there, and then rounded out the season back here in Tennessee and in Kansas, and ended up seeing my one main target buck twice here in Tennessee. Couldn't get it done, and the season has kind of slowed down pretty rapidly since then. And it just, I had a weird feeling. I had a weird feeling in my gut yesterday, because when you close a season out and it's kind of officially done with, and you still have a tag in your pocket, I don't know who experiences what. I'm sure everybody experiences different things based on the level of seriousness that you take this, based on the level of experience that you have, based on the level of time and effort that you put into this. But for me, have kind of put my blood, sweat, and tears into all this stuff, and, have made it my livelihood. So to end a season, hunting 6 different states and not to fill a buck tag, to say that there was a disappointment in my gut is an understatement. I to a fault at times, I hold myself to a very high standard, and I am my own worst critic. I am my own probably worst enemy. And so I'm hard on myself at times, and I don't know. In this instance, I don't think that there's any reason not to be. You got to kind of scratch your head and take a look in the mirror when you're doing this for your livelihood. You've made a career out of this. This is what you focus a majority of your time and effort into, and you're quote unquote unsuccessful and don't have a tag filled at the end of the season. Like for me, I look at it and I'm like, that won't happen again. Like I won't let that happen again. So maybe to some degree it was something that I needed. Maybe to some degree that it was kind of like a kick in the shorts to be like, dude, like you have complete control and you have complete power over, what you dictate or what you deem as successful within your season. So as hard as it was to kind of take that disappointment out of me, I have to go back and look at the positives of the season. Number one, like I said, Kansas is like kind of one of the first, like for me personally, one of the first things that comes to mind is just putting myself in a position to be able to experience that, putting myself in a position to actually go do it and, not just talk about it, be about it. That is something that I'm extremely proud of, actually going and experiencing it and being able to then like have you all follow along with that story. That's something that I'm extremely proud of. And regardless of how the season ended up, like y'all followed along with the entire story with me, Dean, my dad, Uncle Jay for the whole season. So the fact that we've done that, now another year consistently is with a good, bad, or indifferent, no matter what the results are, we've been able to bring you guys along with the journey. That is my most proud part of all of this. And that always has been with Tag and Brag. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what the percentage of hunters go out there that end their season with a tag in their pocket. A lot of people are only have the opportunity to hunt their home state, or that's just, that's the time that they have and the money that they have to put into it. And so it's a lot easier to go deerless or to not fill a tag when you're in that position than, it is for somebody like myself who has multiple different states and opportunities to try and go fulfill something. But the reality of the situation is that there's a good percentage of hunters out there that come away with their season with tags in their pocket. Also, every time that you go out into the woods, you're not coming back with the celebratory moments of putting a deer in the back of the truck, hanging a deer on the skinning pole, being able to celebrate that harvest. Actually, probably 95%, maybe even more of the hunts that you go on throughout the year are not going to come with that like end carrot. So who are we to decide whether or not you can get something from one of our hunts, whether they're successful or not? That's where we changed our thinking years back in, okay, we're filming every one of these hunts regardless. We're putting the effort in to bring the cameras into the woods to document all this stuff. Why are we not editing it? Why are we not putting it out there? Because who are we to say that one of you guys can't get something from that specific hunt? So changing that format has been it's been a lot more work, that's for sure. It's been a heck of a lot more work. A lot of time, effort, and energy goes into behind the scenes outside of, the woods or a tree stand or anything like that. Outside of filming and documenting all this stuff, from an editing standpoint, just organizing the footage onto hard drives to make sure that we have it backed up, making sure cameras are recharged and cards are cleared and ready to go for the next day's hunt. All of that stuff, there's so much work behind the scenes that goes into being able to put ourselves out there in that manner. And the fact that we've been able to do that for so many years consistently is I'm extremely proud of. I think that that's part of what sets us apart from even some of the bigger names in the hunting industry, because right now we're doing this all ourselves. And one of our goals for 2024 is to build more of a team around this, and not necessarily a team to go into the woods and film their hunts, but some people on the back end that can help us out and getting this content out to you guys quicker and even quicker than we are, and better quality than we already are. So we're always trying to up the game in that regard. We're always trying to push ourselves, and even still, we feel like we're very far from our potential. We're very far from our the magnitude of the impact that we can have on this hunting industry, and that's, some of that is a drag for me because I'm like, when are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? But also it's exciting too because you feel like you're still on the beginning portions of this crazy journey. So yeah, it's a very interesting feeling. Like I said, I feel disappointment in myself in not putting myself in more positions in order to harvest a buck that I sought out to harvest, in order to find a buck that I sought out to harvest. I think where I went wrong, first and foremost, and where we went wrong as a team is, number one, not having enough options in the states that we do hunt. So for instance, down here in Tennessee, Uncle Jay's got some land to hunt up north about an hour from me, which he's invited me and I've hunted a handful of times throughout this year, which is awesome. I also have a lease a little bit south of Nashville, but it's a smaller lease, and I kind of put all my eggs into that basket this year, at least, in my home state, or where I'm living right now. And I think that I can do a better job of. You can only hunt the deer that are there. And if there's not a deer that you're seeking, in this crazy whitetail world where we're always trying to up the game of killing our next biggest buck. First of all, the reality of the situation is that's not going to happen every year. You're not going to kill your biggest buck ever every year. So I think that was one thing for me too that I took out of this season is like, you know what? At some point, passing all of these bucks, although it's giving them, an opportunity to make it to that next year and, maybe develop into their quote unquote full potential and maybe get to a point where you actually, are excited about harvesting them. Like that's cool and everything, but is it getting a little nitpicky? Like, that buck's got his G2s are too short, or that buck's got he's got no brow tines, or that buck's G4 is busted off halfway off. Is that getting to be a little bit too much? For me, it kind of is. And I understand, we're in the business of land management and whitetail management, and certainly don't know it all, but know a lot of what it takes, especially with how we've developed our land and the bucks that we've taken off of it in Western New York, probably one of the hardest states to do that in the country. But to what degree is it actually hurting a little bit? To what degree is it actually taking away from the experience of a hunter as a whole? And I've looked at myself in the mirror a lot this year, and especially towards the later part of the year, the farther the year went on and I hadn't filled a tag yet, I'm going, dude, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, dude, you haven't even experienced the start to finish of a hunter and a gatherer. Like, you haven't completed that yet this year. How do you go through a full season and not do that? How do you go through a full season and not put yourself in a position? And I shouldn't say put yourself in a position. I put myself in a lot of positions to do that and passed on them based on the age of the deer. Okay, respect. The size of the rack. Okay, respect. Busted this, busted that, the deer not being the exact deer that I, maybe wanted to harvest. I passed up on those opportunities. And while that's okay, and while that's all good, and while that's like what the hunting industry is all about right now, it's not what hunting is all about at its core. It's not, harvesting that animal and then being able to take care of it after you harvest it, meaning you gut the thing. You got to drag it to the truck. you get it to the truck. Whether you get it to the processor and they do it, or you process the game yourself, all of that is all parts of the hunt that are worthy of something. They're very worthy of something. That meat that's in your freezer, cooking that meat, nourishing your body with that meat that you provided, nourishing your family's bodies with that meat that you've provided. That's all part of it. And like, we can walk around and tote around these big bucks and the Instagram photos and the likes and the comments and all this stuff, and that's all fine and good. But like, when you look back on it, hunting at its core was a necessity to stay alive. That was a necessity to survive. And in this crazy world that we are living in right now, I can tell you one thing: that's a necessary skill to have. And I just look at it as, I was not as happy with this season from the standpoint that I didn't get to carry that out. And that's on me. There's still a couple days of season here in Tennessee that you're damn right I'm going to go try and fill a doe tag so that I can carry that out, because we do need meat in our freezer. And I can't imagine going throughout, a spring and a summertime without being able to open the freezer and have that meat that I've provided for myself and for my family. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's weighed on me a lot, and it's made me think and just get curious and question a lot. Like, are we doing the right things? Are we promoting the right things? It's okay. It's okay to manage the land for deer. It's okay to manage the land for big deer and have that at the forefront and those as your goals. But we can't lose sight of the fact that we are hunting, and putting yourself in those positions, putting yourself in a position to put an animal in the crosshairs, whether it's a gun or a bow. Like, when you get to that point, right before you're about to pull the trigger, when you get to that point, it's a different feeling. You could practice all you want on the range all year long, but that point right there is a different feeling. It is for me, at least. When you're about to take an animal's life, I don't take that lightly whatsoever. I don't take that for granted or lightly whatsoever. It's given me a different appreciation for my own life, let alone the life that I'm going to take. And you're damn sure that I am overly appreciative of that animal's life that I'm going to take, because it's going to nourish my life and my body, in a certain way. So I just think that, at least for me, that kind of got, the idea of passing things up, and that question, I guess, is evolving in my head right now. And what does that actually mean? And where's the fine lines? When do you say no? When do you say I'm just going to be a hunter today? I don't know. I mean, I think everybody's going to have their own answers for that. But for me personally, like, that this year, and maybe that was part of the journey, that maybe that was part of the, the place that God put me in this year, and the reason that I didn't fill a buck tag. Maybe I needed that reality check, and I needed that, that regrounding of like, no, you need to just enjoy this as a hunter. You need to just carry out the qualities that you learned and the characteristics that you've learned that my dad's taught me, Uncle Jay, my grandpa, many other uncles, and all this stuff that I've learned through experience and through being there. Like, put those skills, refine those skills, like, carry them out, go through them, whether it's a doe, maybe it's a buck that you're not going to put on the wall this year. Well, oh my goodness. Nobody's ever done that before. Like, I don't know. I'm certainly one that wants to, to go after the biggest and the baddest and the oldest deer, just because that challenge for me is important, and that challenge, means something. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter at heart. I'm a hunter by nature, and I need to keep those skills refined. And I didn't this year, and I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm the most disappointed at in myself. So you can't sit and hang your hat on it, or you can't sit and dwell on it too much, because as one season ends, another one begins. But I can promise y'all this right now. I'm looking directly into the lens of the camera. So for all you on YouTube, I'm looking directly into your eyes. I'm promising you this. I will not be in this position again next year. I will not be in this position again next year. And the cool part is y'all are going to get to follow along with that journey. So if anybody else has had a struggling season, if anybody else is going through trying times and just is feeling down about their season or down and out about really anything in their life, well, I encourage you to follow along with the journey, because I'm kind of right there right now. I'm kind of right there right now with something that I love to do dearly, with something that I'm extremely passionate about, with something that you could arguably say I shouldn't feel this way about, but I do. But I'm going to change it, and y'all are coming with me. So God bless that. So what else do I got on these daggum notes here? Bow giveaway we did. Tough season, closing out in Tennessee, passing Young Bucks. The other thing that I am grateful for, or that I'm proud of, is getting back to like how our structure changed, where we've got more of a video blog style format where, the glitz, the glam is not always there. Some of our hunts could be boring, to be completely honest with you. And we put them out there regardless. If we miss something, we put that out there. The tough times, the highs, the lows, we put all of that out there, not only for you guys, but for us as well, to hold ourselves accountable to the decisions that we make, to the actions that we take as hunters, and, to make everybody realize that this is not a perfect game. And there's not much calculating that or like scripting that you can specifically do. We work our asses off to try and figure out, to try and get that dupe on the deer or the animal of choice. But it's not always like that. We're working with Mother Nature here. So when you have seasons like we've had, and the two leaders of TAGNBRAG, my brother Dino and myself, neither of us filled a buck tag this year. My dad got one, Uncle Jay got one, but neither of Dean or myself filled a buck tag this year. That hasn't happened. I think COVID year I didn't kill a buck as well, but before that I don't remember when the last time I didn't kill a buck in a season was. But Dean and I both to not do that, I can't. I don't even recall. But we stayed on the grind. We stayed producing content. We kept stuff going out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. No matter what, like, you guys were coming along with the journey. The destination doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with our content. It's all continual. So you can watch. You want to go back to 2019, you want to watch our seasons from 2019 through now, you can do that. 2017 through now, you can do that. 2021 through now, you can do that. Or any variation in between. It's a continuous cycle and an ever-revolving door. But for us to not tag a buck, we can kind of backtrack a little bit talking about ATA. One of the things that I'm doing to prepare for ATA is collecting all of our analytics from 2023. What are our numbers on YouTube? What are our numbers on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? How did we grow? Did we not grow? Numbers from the amount of views you get to the amount of watch hours you have to the retention rate of the followers and the subscribers and all that stuff. they break it down in so many different ways, but in the grand scheme of things, this game is all about attracting eyeballs. It just is. You're going to get paid on the amount of eyeballs that you can attract and that you can consistently have and that you can grow. And so prior to this year, I'm going to pull up some statistics for you. Prior to this year, we had doubled our social followings each year. So last year, we had a total of 36 million views across all platforms. Now, last year, Facebook was our biggest. Really, prior to this past year, Facebook has really been our biggest. TikTok's another big one. YouTube, we've been, really trying to get on the YouTube train over the last couple of years, and that's worked from last year to this year. But this year we had 43 million views across all platforms. So we grew our viewership 7 million views from last year to this year, and Dean and I didn't fill a tag. That to me is it. That to me is the selling point for why a company should represent TAGNBRAG, or why TAGNBRAG should have the opportunity to represent said company. Because we've put ourselves in a position now to where it doesn't matter if we kill a deer or not. It doesn't matter if we have that quote-unquote success or not. It helps. It propels the views. I can only imagine what our views would have been if we had one or two more buck kills under our belt for this year. It just does. That specific episode propels views around other episodes on the front and back end of it. The short content propels views. It just amplifies everything. But the fact that we could grow, and not only grow, but we could grow our viewership 7 million views from 36 million last year to over 43 million this year across all platforms. That's it for me. That's the success, okay? Because it's showing, it's proving what our thought process was a handful of years ago when we switched to this vlog style format. It's proving that to be true. If you lead with your authenticity, if you lead with realism, if you lead with just documenting and bringing people along the journey, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because everybody who's taken in that content is going to experience those things. If from a hunting aspect, they're going to experience the highs, the lows, the in the middles, the bad seasons, the good seasons. They're going to experience all that. So if you can document that and then show that, and people can not only experience it themselves, but they can experience it through your content, bingo, baby. Bingo. Because also the reality is that you can't control Mother Nature. I hunted my ass off this year, hunted smarter, not harder at times. And I think that made a difference in my season and the amount of deer that I saw and the quality of deer that I saw. I saw a lot of good bucks this year. I saw a lot of shooters this year. Some were in range, some were not. Some it was a little too dark, some it wasn't. There was just a lot of different encounters that I had for one reason or another why it didn't happen. And that's Mother Nature. We don't have control over that. The only thing I have control over is the hard work that it takes and then actually being there and showing up when it matters. And my attitude all the while in between. That's really the only control I have. And then I have control over my preparation, mentally and physically, and my preparation with shooting my bow or gun or whatever weapon of choice. Like, that's all I have control over. But I don't have that control over the deer getting up during daylight hours. I don't have the control over the deer walking, in front of my tree stand, or, in a good lane, or in a view where I can get the camera on them and still have the opportunity to shoot. Like, I have a little bit of control over that based on my setup, but I don't have control over that animal actually physically doing it. So at the end of the day, like, you don't have control over that end result. And just shooting a deer for business or because you have to fulfill an episode or any bullshit like that, I don't believe in that shit one iota. That's not why I got into the game. That's not why I'm promoting it. That's not why we're doing any of this stuff. So just doing that for for competition or for business, no. Sorry, not going to happen. You're not going to see that with us. It's just not how we're wired. I'm gonna shoot something. I'm gonna take something's life when that thing gives me that jolt, when it gives me that energy, when it gives me that adrenaline rush, that you're in that moment of truth and it's just like your heart is beating out of your chest and you can't even comprehend what is going on in that moment. That's when it's going to happen. It's not just going to happen because I got to fulfill something that I built a business around. No. Not going to happen. Not with us. So, and trust me, I had the opportunity to do that many times this year. Many times. Could have just capped something. Need a kill for Tag and Brag. Need one for this episode. Need to ram things up. Need to get the ball rolling. Need this. Need that. Whatever the reason was outside of the actual values of why you would take that life, or that it met your standards as a hunter and trying to elevate yourself. Outside of any of that, no, not going to happen. And it didn't happen. But I had the opportunities to do that. It didn't happen. Okay, so. The fact that we can do that, hold those values that are so close to us and still grow our viewership, that's proof in the pudding right there. Number one, this shit ain't going away. You're going to have to deal with Tag and Brag boys for a hell of a lot longer than y'all have been dealing with them already. But also, it's relatable to people. I'm a hunter. I want to, when I'm watching or when I'm taking in content, I like to see a big buck get killed, or a big bull elk, or a big mule deer, or a big sheep, or whatever. I like to see all that stuff. But the more I like to see is the adventure that it took to get there. What mountain did you have to climb? What river did you have to cross? What food plot did you have to build, or property did you have to dissect, or any of that stuff? What did it take to get there? Because the people that are watching you and me, they want to know the same thing. And once again, the fact that we've kind of changed our format and now have the courage to produce all of the content, good, bad, or indifferent, and the people are receptive to it, That's all the feedback that I need to say, keep fucking going. Keep going. It's been a rough season. Yeah. You could sit here and dwell on it too, or you could just move on to next season and let's fucking go. The worst is over, like, the holidays and stuff like that. You're talking to family members, friends, whatever. They know what you do on a high level, very, very high level, surface level. And it's like, oh, you didn't get a deer yet? You've been hunting 6 different states. You didn't shoot a deer yet? Like, are you even a real hunter? Do you even know what you're doing? This, that, and the other thing. It's like, y'all have no fucking idea what you're talking about. But I'm just going to swallow my pride. I'm going to say, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Nah, yeah. And then I'm going to move on. Because those people don't know the deer that you passed, don't know the time that you put in, don't know that, you've probably put yourself in a position to kill a deer about a majority of the times that you went out there, but you're hunting for something specific, or you're kind of putting yourself in a bubble, your own bubble. But regardless, like, those are the people that you kind of have to ignore because they don't fully understand what you are trying to do. And like, those people also don't understand that the fact that we documented that whole thing and that it was a success from a number standpoint because our viewership went up, that is the success. That is the success. Because now I can go do it again next year, and the year's probably going to look a little bit different from a success standpoint. Who knows what the numbers could be? Who knows? But I don't know. That's just kind of a little rant from this past season. And yeah, there's disappointment. There's gratitude. There's been success. There's been a lot of failures. But at the end of the day, we're still living. We're still breathing. And you know what? We get to clean the slate, and we get to start prepping for a new one next year. And that's what I'm the most grateful for. And I'm the most grateful for all you, the people that listen, the people that follow along with this journey, the people that comment, send us messages. The Kansas miss was once again another gut punch for me, especially that late in the season, not filling a tag yet. Another gut punch for me. Probably could have been one of the best things that happened all year because of the comments and the messages that we got from that hunt. Unreal. Like, you guys are so cool. Like, the fact that you showed that and you didn't just bury the content and you had the courage to show that stuff is amazing. It makes you relatable. It makes you relatable to us as viewers, that, the average Joe hunter, whatever. Like, so many comments revolving around that, and the fact that we just had the courage to show it, that I didn't even think about would have even been a thing. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, we're showing this because we show everything, but like, I'm not thrilled about it. But after letting it marinate for a couple days and hearing the people and the comments roll in, just about being able to bring y'all along with that whole Kansas journey to begin with, but then the unfortunate part about missing that deer on the last day, what that did for me from the feedback perspective, I can't thank y'all enough. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I think I speak for everyone, Dino, my dad, and Uncle Jay here at Tag and Brag. We thank you all for continuing to watch, for continuing to follow along with the journey, and keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling, baby. We're all in this together. We are all in this together. So y'all keep hunting hard, hunting safe, finish your season strong. We will have our bow giveaway going out and announced here within the next week at the latest. And if you're at ATA, come stop us, say hi if you see us on the floor. If not, we'll see you in the next vlog, or we'll see you right back here next Wednesday for another episode of Goose Chasing. I love y'all. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. God bless.